When 40-year-old Abraham Shakespeare wins a massive lottery prize in Lakeland, Florida in 2006, an ordinary man starts an extraordinary adventure.
He took a lump sum payment of $17 million. When Shakespeare won the lottery, the entire community won also.
It says $500,000.
He basically became Lakeland's stimulus package.
Think about that place.
Shakespeare was a very, very generous person.
While happy for her son, 65-year-old Elizabeth Walker is wary of the windfall.
Abraham's mother was a wonderful person. Abraham tried to give her money and buy her a new house, and she didn't want it. Abraham's mother thought the money was evil and would bring him no good.
Cheers! $17 million.
Many other people are ready to line up for the generosity of this uneducated but good-natured young man.
And of course,
He couldn't read or write. If at all, he couldn't do it very well. I don't think he understood the value of money. I think he thought he'll never run out of money.
Abraham's good fortune catches the eye of 35-year-old entrepreneur Doris Dee Dee Moore.
Dee Dee Moore was a blonde, flashy woman. She was very confident, very sure of herself.
Dee Dee's currently got herself a 26-year-old boy toy,
Not now, I'm thinking.
come on, baby.
but she's always looking for more excitement. And a newly minted millionaire is a person she wants to know.
She presented herself as to be a writer. She offered to write a book. So from there, a friendship budded between the two of them.
But the book is just the start of Dee Dee's deal.
You get tired of people asking for money, Abe?
Yeah, I do.
She offers to manage all of Abraham's financial affairs.
Dee Dee presented herself as someone who wasn't going to be a moocher.
In Abraham's mind, here comes this lady who decides, hey, I'll get this all straightened out for you.
This one here is to close your existing account.
She convinced him to put all of his holdings in her company name, and this was a way for people to stop asking for money from him.
But Dee Dee is far from a savior.
After you start peeling the layers behind of Dee Dee Moore, you start realizing more and more something's not right here.
The smooth-talking businesswoman has a long history of deceit and fraud. One scam 5 years earlier shows how far Dee Dee will go to come out on top. When her car is about to be repossessed, Dee Dee stages a dramatic ruse.
Just up there.
She had called and reported that her vehicle had been carjacked and she had been left for dead by some Mexican guys in a ditch somewhere.
For extra sympathy, Dee Dee claims she is raped.
She was calculated, manipulative, and a sick person.
Dee Dee Moore is the classic textbook definition of a psychopath. Persistent and chronic liar, manipulator of other people. If a psychopath isn't manipulating someone and deceiving and stealing, they're not having any fun.
But naive Abraham knows nothing of her past.
She found him and she knew she could work him. And oh, did she.
Abraham thinks his money is safe from his clawing community because he hands it all to Dee Dee.
Wow, you weren't kidding.
For you, baby.
She had his house, his properties, his cars, Even his bank accounts, everything, I mean everything, was switched into the name of her company that she operated.
While Dee Dee has never been happier, Abraham is worried and anxious.
Man, I'm finna get out. I'm finna go.
The burden of being a multi-millionaire is starting to get to him. He disappears.
Shakespeare talked so much about being aggravated about people asking him for money. So when he disappeared, people thought to themselves, well, maybe he finally did get tired.
Lakeland now loses its stimulus package. Abraham is no longer around to give anyone his money. No one sees him for months, but his family and friends receive a series of strange texts.
It's Abe. He says it's going away.
Abraham is on a cruise to Jamaica, how Abraham is in Texas. He doesn't want anybody to see him. The stories just never end.
After 9 months, finally, a phone call.
Yeah, Mom. I'm fine.
But something is strange.
Get away.
His mother said, "Who are you? You're not Shakespeare."
No one knows who it is, except Dee Dee Moore. It's her deep, dark secret. 2009, Lakeland, Florida. After 43-year-old Abraham Shakespeare wins a lottery, everyone wants a handout.
Just don't stop.
When 36-year-old Dee Dee Moore offers to manage his millions, he jumps at the chance.
Congratulations.
But the only person Dee Dee wants to help is herself.
First class all the way.
She's a con woman.
That's my money in your wallet, is how they see the world. And because I'm so much smarter than you, I will get it.
His friends think Abraham is on an extended holiday. Dee Dee knows the truth. Not long after signing over his fortune to her, Abraham becomes suspicious.
It ain't working out.
Everything is good, Abe.
No, it ain't.
Abraham had come to her and said, hey, something's not right. I can't get to my money. You know, what's going on?
Look, man,
April 6th, 2009. Abraham tells Dee Dee he's going to the bank to sort it out. Dee Dee knows if he does, she'll be exposed.
Everything is good.
There's a safe inside that house where she tells Abraham all his money is, all the cash is. She opens the safe. Abraham thinks he's gonna get a bunch of money. She doesn't pull out the money, but she pulls a gun out of the safe.
no. Please, no.
And she shoots him twice.
Dee Dee takes the last thing Abraham has left to give. His life.
Abraham Shakespeare was a nice guy. He didn't stand a chance against Dee Dee Moore. Not a chance.
The money is all hers, but it still isn't enough for Dee Dee.
She saw outstanding debts that people owed him as a cash cow. There was probably close to $3 million if she could consistently collect on these monies.
The prospect of easy money is too good to refuse.
Dee Dee went to extreme lengths to make it look as if Shakespeare was alive to his friends and family.
Abraham texts his family and friends from the grave. But one day, Dee Dee goes too far, trying to stage a phone call.
Yeah, Mom, I'm fine. Just needed to get away.
A mother knows her son's voice. She calls the cops.
Abraham's mother called me and said, hey, somebody called that said they were Abraham. I don't know if it was, but it didn't really sound like him.
The police start asking questions. Dee Dee has to protect herself. She needs someone else to take the murder rap and turns to an old friend of Abraham's for help.
I've got a lot more cash for someone who'll say they killed Abraham.
She says, I need to find somebody who is willing to tell the police that they did something to Abraham, that they killed Abraham.
I'll ask around.
I'm willing to pay them.
Dee Dee is introduced to career criminal Mike Smith, a perfect candidate.
Mike Smith is fixing to go to federal prison, has already signed off a plea agreement for 25 years, and basically he can't get any more time. For a certain amount of money, he would be willing to say that he killed Abraham Shakespeare.
You do this, you'll be a very popular person.
Mike agrees to take the blame, but needs evidence of the murder. Otherwise, he won't be believed.
Where is he? What happened?
Shot him. He's buried in my backyard.
Dee Dee has to hand over the weapon and the location of Abraham's body.
So in Dee Dee Moore's mind, she's just won the game. She's got somebody that's gonna confess to killing Abraham Shakespeare.
But there's one thing Dee Dee doesn't know. Mike Smith is an undercover cop.
Every time he met with her, every time he talked with her, he was wearing a wire.
Did you dig here?
Dee Dee had admitted where the body was located.
Then you gotta burn him.
That was enough for authorities to go in and make an arrest. They had what they needed.
The master of the sting has been stung.
Dee Dee Moore never thought she would get caught.
Don't forget to bring the marshmallows.
Yet, she told the whole story to an undercover cop. Bye-bye now.
On December 10th, 2012, Doris Dee Dee Moore is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. It's dangerous to pin all your hopes on one man.
It's only been 2 weeks, Jen.
But it's something she was willing to do because she loved him.
You're casting me aside.
You can be let down.
Tears would frequently roll down her face.
And you can snap.
You bastard!
He created a monster, and the monster turned on him.
December 1966. Purchase, New York. 42-year-old divorcee Jean Harris does what many women have done before her. She falls for Dr. Herman Tarnauer.
He's a notorious womanizer. Is that what he's famous for?
Herman Tarnauer was one of the foremost cardiologists in the country.
One of the best.
He started a group called the Scarsdale Medical Group, which is very, very successful.
Herman will go on to create the Scarsdale diet. But first, he has some womanizing to do.
He was quite a charming individual. He could walk into a room and he was the magnet for all the women in the room. So he had that kind of a personality and charisma about him.
So why haven't I been introduced to you?
I don't know. I know all about you.
Jean is the headmistress of an exclusive girls' school.
Give me a chance to set the record straight.
And the two make an impressive couple.
Tell me.
I'm a humble man and a lover of fine wines.
He made her feel very, very special. He just swept her right off her feet.
That one's for China.
It's beautiful.
An exotic world opens up to Jean.
Maybe we could find one like that for you. When we go to the Orient.
She becomes the good doctor's new travel companion.
Jean and the doctor would travel around the world.
There's just one catch.
Where's he taking you?
I don't know. Somewhere exciting.
He's so romantic.
He was a lifelong bachelor. He liked, apparently, the single life. This was who he was.
Hello, darling. I'm Brensley.
The headmistress will not be Dr. Tarnauer's only love.
Okay. Next weekend. Bye.
He made it pretty clear to Jean. Yes, they could continue to have a relationship, but to do so, she would have to turn a blind eye to the other women.
Get out! Get out!
It's hard to describe a bigger slight than that.
Jean puts up with Herman's infidelity for 5 years.
What is it, Jean? What's the problem?
I'm snacking at the girls at school.
By 1971, it takes an emotional toll.
I can't eat.
But the source of her depression may have a cure.
I can't concentrate.
Not a marriage proposal, but amphetamines.
What is this?
Detoxin, some people would call it an upper, but it's known to the public as speed.
Take it.
He set her up to use these drugs, which she used for more than 10 years.
It'll make you feel better.
For close to a decade, the drugs placate Jean.
It's only been 2 weeks, Jean. Now, you remember our little arrangement.
But her addiction is making her more unstable and less tolerant of the doctor's womanizing.
She saw, a lot of little personal belongings, and she was furious. She tried to get rid of all of it. Tarnauer was very annoyed with her for doing that, and he said, "You're banished. You can't see me for weeks." Jean was distraught.
And we'll see how you're going in about 2 weeks.
Sorry, doctor. There's an urgent call.
Thanks, Mrs. Williams.
Thank you, doctor.
Jean plagues Herman with phone calls.
She's rung 5 times.
But he is no longer interested.
Listen to me, Gene. This has got to stop.
The woman now by his side, day and night, is his young assistant.
I've been getting calls too.
It was humiliating. Here was this younger, blonder, prettier woman taking her place in Tarnauer's affections.
Did you lock the door?
Jean was independent and capable, intelligent, and had her own money. None of that mattered. She was desperately in love with Herman Tarnauer, and he didn't want her anymore.
But soon, Jean will make sure she never shares Herman again. 1979. Purchase, New York.
The #1 for Virginia. How does it feel?
Dr. Herman Tarnauer is the successful author of the Scarsdale Diet.
My wife's a big fan. Maybe something.
It raised his stature because now he was the #1 New York Times best-selling author.
That's great.
He is making millions from his book and has a new lover,
How about we do one with my assistant?
Yeah, no, that's
his
great.
young assistant.
All right, jump in here.
It is too much for his lover of the past 10 years. Jean Harris.
Well, tell him I called and I'll be calling again.
It tore her to pieces. She felt dependent on him, like she couldn't survive without him. Then she'd turn around and feel resentful.
Jean's erratic behavior gets worse when she runs out of her medication.
Jean was in a really bad place. She was anxious, she was nervous.
She's been hooked on amphetamines for a decade. The withdrawal symptoms are severe.
Why didn't you take my calls?
I told you not to call me in the office.
The most common byproduct of amphetamine withdrawal is a severe depression.
You're casting me aside.
The individual can feel at times very, very desperate.
I've got a patient.
I'm coming over.
Suit yourself.
Jean came up with a solution. She would go to Tarnauer's home. She would confront him, and then she would kill herself.
Late in the night of March 10th, 1980. Jean prepares to end it all in front of her lover.
When she got there,
Gene, you're crazy.
she found negligee and hair curlers, which in a peek she threw out.
Tarnauer hit her. And that's when things really got ugly.
The bullet passed between his thumb and first finger.
Look what you've done!
Dr. Tarnauer tried to call for help. And she shoots him.
It's not Jean's life that ends tonight.
He created a monster, and the monster turned on him.
Jean admits to shooting the doctor, but says it happens accidentally when he tries to stop her from committing suicide.
That still didn't explain the 4 shots found in Tarnauer's body.
The entire case boiled down to whether or not there was intent on the part of Mrs. Harris. That's really what the jury had to decide.
The bald facts of the case work against Jean.
She put 5 rounds in a 6-round cylinder, and she brought extra bullets with her. None of those bullets went in her head or her heart.
In 1981, the jury decides it's second-degree murder. Jean Harris is sentenced to 15 years.
She got all caught up in the love of a man and used it to distort her whole thinking process and sow the seeds of her own destruction.
A combination of amphetamine withdrawal and obsessive love killed the author of the Scarsdale Diet. That his murderer is a respected headmistress makes it all the more shocking.
I learned from this case that the perception of the strength in other people is often a mask that is hiding serious emotional problems.
Jean Harris was not dangerous to anyone except Herman Tarnauer. And she got him.
Los Angeles, 2009. A murder cold case reopens thanks to new DNA technology.
There are tools now in the forensic arsenal that were not available 25 years ago.
For 23 years, Sherry Rasmussen's killer has roamed free, but justice is moving in. For LAPD detective Stephanie Lazarus, it's a case close to her heart.
This was a love, essentially, that never died.
Too close. "30 years earlier, Detective Lazarus is a UCLA freshman. Smart and athletic, the 18-year-old is ready to take on the world.
She was a woman who was pretty in that kind of kid sister way.
In her residential hall, Stephanie finds another fitness fanatic, John Rutten.
I can never say no to another drink.
Tall, charming, and ready for fun.
They both like to run, they both work out, they're fitness nuts, they lift weights.
Where's that drink, Congressman?
I'll make it up to you.
It's not long before the pair hooks up, but in the modern way, as friends with benefits.
They date, but they're not exclusive. It's not like they're lovers. Well, at least from his point of view.
Through their college years, the arrangement works just fine. It even continues after they graduate.
After graduating from UCLA, Stephanie surprises all her friends and her family members by applying for the police academy.
And she moves straight up the ranks. She's a great officer. People like her. Tenacious. Smart.
While Stephanie walks the beat in Hollywood, John gets a white-collar job as an electrical engineer. They are still friends when John meets the woman of his dreams.
6 foot tall, beautiful woman. Striking in appearance and striking professionally.
Hi, I'm John.
Hi, John. I'm Sherry.
27-year-old nurse, Sherry Rasmussen.
They fell almost instantly in love. It was easy. They didn't have to think about it. It just flowed.
Do you want to grab a seat and I can get you a drink?
Within a year, the couple is engaged. But an old flame refuses to go out.
Stephanie Lazarus kept a journal, and it was apparent from her writings that she was incredibly fond of John Rutten.
The cool cop has shared her man before, but this time she has serious competition.
Stephanie Lazarus just simply became unglued when she found out that John Rutten was engaged to another woman.
Hello, John?
She called him up.
Can you please come over? I need to talk to you.
He drives over, and he finds this woman who's incredibly distraught.
Please don't marry her.
Stephanie could be very disciplined in her life, following the rules and regulations.
I love Sherry.
But she could not control her emotions when it came to Sherry and John being together.
Stephanie reveals her true feelings.
I love you. I love you so much.
This caught John by surprise. Emotionally, he wasn't ready for the things that Stephanie was telling him.
Finally, he says he has to leave, and she makes one last plea, and that is, could we just please have sex? And he consents.
For John, it's a farewell gift for an old friend. For Stephanie, it's a down payment on her emotional mortgage.
Hey! You stole my boyfriend!
In a very telling
sorry,
display
what do you mean?
of jealousy and possession, Stephanie went to Sherry's office at the hospital.
He slept with me 2 nights ago? What?
Stephanie shows her rival she still has the power over John.
She was wearing short shorts and a crop top in what I think was an effort to show how sexy and cute she was.
This was shocking to Sherry Rasmussen. She was frightened. She was frightened of Stephanie.
Sherry forgives John, his final dalliance, and the couple marries in November 1985. But if they think a wedding ring will end Stephanie's obsession, they're wrong.
Their life was moving forward, but that left Lazarus on the outside looking in.
November 1985. Los Angeles couple Sherry Rasmussen and John Rutten are in the first blush of married life. The only blemish on their happiness, John's old college flame, Stephanie Lazarus, now an officer in the LAPD.
How did you get in here? He left the door wide open.
Stephanie is stalking.
Sherry was in the condominium by herself and found Lazarus in her police uniform inside their condominium.
Get out now! No!
And there was a confrontation.
I'm waiting for John. Are you kidding me? Get out of my house now!
She was abusing her power and authority and stalking another woman because of jealousy. I cannot imagine a more dangerous situation.
I'm so sorry she's doing this to us.
John is torn between his new wife and his old friend.
Tell her to leave us alone.
I think we should just ignore her. She'll get over it.
And does his best to smooth the waters.
In her mind, Stephanie believes that she's involved in this love triangle. But it's really a fantasy.
Stephanie's fantasy becomes Sherry's nightmare on February 24th, 1986. When the LA cop hands out her own justice.
Stephanie was skilled enough to know that Sherry was home alone, without John.
What are you doing?
Once Stephanie picked the lock, there was no going back. The fight in the condo was a life and death struggle between two women. One of them had a gun and training.
Sherry is tall and strong, but Stephanie is trained for combat.
She bit Sherry on the inner forearm. Sherry is no longer struggling. Lazarus makes the conscious choice to grab the blanket, wrap the gun in order to muzzle the sound.
She did it in the most personal of ways. She inflicted the wounds in her heart and in her face.
Then, Stephanie stops thinking like a killer and starts thinking like a cop.
She knocks over some furniture, she pulls out a drawer, and then she stacks a VCR and a CD player at the foot of the stairs.
So if you're cops and you come over and you look at this, you think, a robbery gone wrong. And that's exactly what the LAPD believes.
Stephanie's colleagues hunt for an armed robber, but they have no leads.
There is no hair evidence, no blood evidence, no fiber evidence to connect her body with any suspect.
Stephanie pulls off the perfect murder.
So the case went cold for about 17 years.
But if Stephanie has hopes of reclaiming her true love, John ends them. Their friendship slowly dissolves, and years later, Stephanie marries someone else.
Some people are able to lock away a dark secret like that. Maybe she even began to believe that that did not happen.
Stephanie has a successful police career. By 2006, she's moved into the exotic world of art fraud. But Stephanie's own fraud is about to be uncovered. She will be bitten by evidence she left 23 years ago.
And the coroner investigator took a swab of that bite. And that bite swab essentially sat in a coroner's freezer for 17 years.
It wasn't until 2005 that the police department had the technology to do DNA detection on such a small sample.
Now, all the victims' acquaintances are secretly swabbed.
And among them is the name, of course, of Stephanie Lazarus.
And they followed Ms. Lazarus around, waiting for her to discard some item that might contain her DNA. And when she left, they swooped in, grabbed the cup,
and they send it back to the lab, and within 2 days, they have a match.
We know you didn't, Stephanie.
You have no proof.
Actually, we do.
Accustomed to asking questions, The tables are turned.
When Stephanie was confronted by the two robbery homicide detectives, you could see the wheels turning.
Stephanie denies any involvement, but she can't explain what her saliva is doing on the murder victim.
I don't think Stephanie could ever really look herself in the mirror and admit to what she's done.
In March 2012, Stephanie Lazarus is convicted of the first-degree murder of Sherry Rasmussen. She is sentenced to 27 years to life.
I wonder if she looked over her shoulder for all those years. My guess is she didn't. She thought she'd gotten away with murder.
Stephanie killed for the man of her dreams, but her dreams were the only place she could ever have him.
Not only had she taken a life, but had broken her oath as a police officer in the worst way possible.